Greg Gutfeld, Juan Williams, Lawrence Jones, and Katie Pavlich. It's 5 o'clock in New York City, and this is The 5.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
All right, right now you're looking live at more mass protests underway over the death of George Floyd. And it was an emotional day for George Floyd's family, with 2 memorial services being held, one in Minneapolis, the other in New York City. Family, friends, political leaders, community members all gathering to pay their respects. Steve Harrigan is on the ground in Minneapolis with the latest. Steve?
Dana, there were about 1,000 people inside the hall here. Many of them invited guests, friends, and family, but several thousand more outside, and media really from around the world lining the sidewalks out in front. This has become an international story over the past 10 days. It was a real mix, too, of emotions. At one point, it seemed like a funeral. At other points, it seemed like a political rally here. Probably the emotional high point came from the eulogy given by Reverend Al Sharpton, who reminded the crowd that the last dying words of George Floyd was a call out to his mother. Reverend Sharpton said he was stunned to learn that George Floyd's mother had already passed away. Here's Reverend Sharpton.
Quincy said, you know, I was thinking maybe he was calling his mother, because at the point that he was dying, his mother was stretching her hands out, saying, come on, George. I'll welcome you where the wicked will cease from troubling, where the weary will be at rest. There's a place where police don't put knees on you, George.
The mood here in Minneapolis, too, has swung up and down. We saw 4 to 5 days of some heavy violence and fires. We saw the National Guard come in. And then recently, over the past 48 hours, a real shift, a real calming, especially with the arrest of the other 3 officers who were involved in the arrest of George Floyd, who made their first court appearance today. And also the increase of the charge to second-degree murder. All 4 could face maximum prison terms now at this point of up to 40 years. This memorial, this funeral isn't over yet. It goes from here to North Carolina and then on to Houston for a burial on Monday. Dana, back to you.
Steve Harrigan, thank you. And Laura Engel joins us from Brooklyn, New York, with the latest on the memorial and the protests there. Laura?
Hi, Dana. Well, it was certainly a massive turnout here in Brooklyn to honor George Floyd. And, you know, this field here behind me was absolutely packed. Right now, we're hearing estimates that about 5,000 people were here. There were people as far as you can see. I want you to take a look at some of that video that we shot earlier today. It was here at Cadman Plaza Park. And again, city leaders, clergy, and family members spoke in front of this huge crowd. A somewhat awkward moment came, though, when New York City Mayor Bill de Blasio took the podium and was loudly booed. This after his wife, the city's first lady, asked the crowd to give him the same respect they gave her. Instead, they continued to boo and chanted the word resign. The crowd paid close attention, though, once George Floyd's brother, Terrence, took the stage, telling the gathering that he is proud of the protest he has seen, but he is not proud of the destruction. And he said that message twice to make his point, and he said it slow, adding that his brother was, quote, not about that. And once the service was over, the crowd moved together as one and marched across the Brooklyn Bridge to Manhattan's Foley Square. Then, of course, what we're going to see here tonight are the protesters marching through the streets, as we've seen go on all week. The curfew remains at 8 p.m. Last night, there were over 180 arrests, mostly people breaking curfew, but we'll have to see what happens again tonight. Last night, it was pouring, so there were maybe less people out on the street. There were some problems with the NYPD, mainly in the city, and, of course, the incident we had here in Brooklyn where 2 police officers were shot, 1 stabbed. But they're not sure, the NYPD is not sure if that was related to the George Floyd protest. So on we go, waiting for nightfall and what happens after 8 p.m. Dana?
All right. Thank you, Laura. We appreciate it. We'll take it around the virtual table here that we have during this coronavirus time. Juan Williams, maybe we get some first thoughts from you after the 2 memorials today.
Well, you know, Dana, I think that just picking up on what we heard from Steve Harrigan, I think there's been a shift towards an emphasis on the peaceful protest, and a show that I took from the memorial service in Minneapolis of family values on 2 levels. On the first level, when you heard the family members speak, they spoke about a real human being, George Floyd, who died that horrible and cruel death. But they emphasized his humanity, that he was a kid who grew up in poverty. They said he used to wash clothes in the sink. Sometimes they didn't have detergent. They just used soap. They didn't have a dryer. Sometimes they used the oven. They'd go over to grandma's if they needed something to eat. It was a human being. Another brother there spoke about, you know, the whole idea of now the world knows George Floyd, and they know him as someone who is so real that they are increasingly showing love for him. And the family, that family, the Floyd
어미
family,
뭐게
so
저
grateful,
방송하니까
he said, for the
조용해봐요.
love from the world
방해
family, the
들어.
American family, the Minneapolis family. So to me, it was on those levels such an inspiring moment, I think, and such a, I'm so grateful that we have moved back to the real reason that has spurred these protests, which is George Floyd and his terrible death. You know, Ben Crump put a point on it when he said what they're after, what they'd like to see come out of this, in terms of, again, reaching out to the American family, is just policing, just law enforcement from prosecutors, from judges, and I guess most of all, a sense, and this has really touched me, that Ben Crump said this, the family lawyer, that a poor black kid born to the least articulate mom would have an equal chance with a child born to the richest white mom. And that's the American creed, you know, equal opportunity.
And it's one that I would think, you know, 99.999% of Americans agree with, of course. That is the ideals of our country. Lawrence Jones, you were there with us during the coverage of following the memorials. Maybe some reflections after you've had a chance to think about it for a little bit.
Yeah, it was great witnessing the homegoing ceremony because it kind of put my spirit at peace. You know, there's been a lot of chaos with this because this has become a national, international story. And to see the family that was able to grieve and be respectful as well and say, you know, we want justice for our brother, our son, our brother, but we also don't want our city to be destroyed as well. This family, you know, typically when we have funerals or homegoing ceremonies, it's not public. And they have to do it publicly. And we got to see his humanity, all the childhood stories as Juan pointed to. But I'm glad that they have remained focused on the vision, and that's justice for Floyd and other people that have similar experiences just like him.
And Katie, I think that was one of the parts that I enjoyed listening to the most was the stories about him as a brother or as an uncle, as his young nephew said that he was, needed somebody like George Floyd in his life.
Yeah, and to listen to his brother say how grateful he was that so many people wanted to be a part of his memorial service was something that everybody can relate to. Of course, you want people to remember the ones that you love so much, especially under these circumstances. The announcement of the scholarship fund was also a good thing for moving forward. But I have to say, if we're going to talk about unity and trying to build bridges, I'm not sure that Al Sharpton was the best choice considering his long career of sowing division in this country and burning bridges down rather than building them up. And so he's the one who made it political, unfortunately. He attacked the president, even though the president is the one who called for the FBI and DOJ to look into this. He has from the beginning said that we don't want these communities to be burned down by rioters. We want people to protest and we want the family to have justice. So it was great to listen to the family members talk about who George Floyd was. But if we're going to talk about unity moving forward and how to heal from this situation, I'm not sure that Al Sharpton is the one to lead the way.
Let's talk about moving forward, indeed. Greg, maybe get some final thoughts here.
Well, I don't want to take anything away from this, what is a very touching and meaningful and emotional event, but it was weird. I was watching the thousands and thousands of people, and a thought of contrast popped into my head, which is I started remembering all the black people and the white people, all the people who haven't had any funerals because of the coronavirus, right? So there have been thousands of families that have not been able to put their their loved ones to death, and we have this amazing kind of event for one man. And I want to make two other points. You know, God bless George Floyd, his brother, for making that very important distinction between protest and violence. You can't say that enough, and good for him to get up there and say that. But I do think
Ông biết muốn sao anh em?
you got to take this memorial service in good faith as a reflection of a society in which everyone is in agreement on the human condition, right? Does a racist society devote this kind of reverence and attention to the death of a previously unknown black man? Does a racist society spend 10 days in rage over the death of an unknown black man? Does a racist society encourage more protests all over the country, even though we know there might be violence? Does a racist society involve millions of people asking the angry, what can we do better? And the answer is, that is not a racist society, not even close.
Indeed, not a racist society at all. Coming up, are some Democratic leaders making excuses for looting? Greg will explain all of that next.
Ow. Oh yeah, oh yeah. Ooh, yeah.
And that affects our customers 24/7.
Sorry I'm late, everybody, and apologies for my appearance.
You look fine. We were just talking about how customers.
I look like a wanted poster. I didn't have time to get my beard routine in this morning, so... What beard routine? Oh, well, the key is maple nectar. Gives it that sheen.
Is there something wrong with my screen?
Well, Jamie, what are you talking about?
You're right, Alan. We should be talking about bundling home and auto with Progressive, not this luscious mane of mine. Jamie, do you know what a beard is?
Mornings were made for better things than rheumatoid arthritis or psoriatic arthritis. When considering another treatment, ask about Xeljanz XR, a once-daily pill for adults with moderate to severe rheumatoid arthritis or active psoriatic arthritis for whom methotrexate did not work well enough. It can reduce pain, swelling, and significantly improve physical function. Xeljanz can lower your ability to fight infections like TB. Don't start Xeljanz if you have an infection. Taking a higher than recommended dose of Xeljanz for RA can increase risk of death. Serious, sometimes fatal infections, cancers, including lymphoma, and blood clots have happened, as have tears in the stomach or intestines, serious allergic reactions, and changes in lab results. Tell your doctor if you've been somewhere fungal infections are common, or if you've had TB, hepatitis B or C, or are prone to infections. Don't let another morning go by without asking your doctor about Xeljanz XR.
Hey there, Mr. Sam.
Thank you, Rylan. You're amazing.
No, you guys are. Shriners Hospitals for Children has done so much for me and so many other kids.
Because of people like you, Shriners Hospitals for Children has helped more than 1.4 million kids like us, regardless of our family's ability to pay. When you give at loveshriners.org, you're joining with thousands of other caring people who are helping kids like us.
Please call the number on your screen or go to loveshriners.org to join Rylan with your support.
When you do, you'll be helping all of us do amazing things.
When you join with Rylan and give just $19 a month, only 63 cents a day, we'll send you this adorable Love to the Rescue blanket as a thank you, and a reminder that you're changing children's lives every month.
Your gift, no matter how small, makes a difference. Thank you. Thank you for giving. Please call or go online to give. If operators are busy, call again or give right away at loveshriners.org.
Violence escalating in the U.S.
We have anarchy ruling the streets of America's liberal cities.
Sean's must-see monologue tonight on Hannity. It's a tough time to run a business, but the right advertising strategy can help you take control of your company's future. Effective Ad Planner helps you create a TV ad campaign in minutes, so you can deliver your commercial to the right audiences within days and track campaign performance daily. It's simple, affordable, and effective. Get started today at effective.com/adplanner.
You doing okay?
Yes. Moving thing never gets any easier.
Well, Xfinity makes moving super easy.
I can transfer my internet and TV service in about a minute.
Huh? That is easy.
Almost as easy as having those guys help you move.
We are those guys.
That's you?
The truck has 10 pounds. In the arms.
Okay.
Transfer your service online. Easy steps. Now that's simple, easy, awesome. Transfer your service in minutes. Make moving